You're starting this morning with evidence of Dublin's fastest growing office employment sector from a slightly unusual source.
That's right, Shane. Yeah, I think it's unusual. Anyway, estate agents Savills Ireland have just published a report highlighting the sector requiring the greatest amount of office space in the capital because of fairly significant growth in employment in that sector and other factors. And we're joined on the line now by Dr. John McCartney, Director of Research at Savills. Most people, John, myself included, would have assumed that the tech sector generally was the providing the greatest demand for office space in Dublin, but it's not the tech sector.
Morning, Vincent. Yeah, well, the tech sector certainly is consuming an enormous amount of office space in Dublin, and indeed there have been some very high-profile lettings in recent months. For example, the Facebook letting of the old bank centre in Ballsbridge, an enormous requirement for offices there, and more recently Salesforce, which has just taken over 40,000 square metres in Spencer Dock. So the tech sector is certainly one of the biggies. But I suppose what's sort of gone unnoticed and crept under the radar a little bit is the fact that the public sector in absolute terms has increased its leasing of office space by 1,000% in the last 7 years. It's gone from taking about 5,000 square metres a year back in 2012 to taking over 60,000 square metres in the last 12 months. So something is happening there. And
just on that, John, I mean, this is a source of obviously there's a lot of focus now on the amount of current government expenditure every year, and obviously hiring more public sector workers is it. The amount of office space is a sign of this. I mean, you reckon nearly 5,000 new public sector jobs in the capital in the year to March alone?
Indeed, Vincent, yes. Public administration and defence is now the fastest growing sector of employment in Dublin. The headcount in that sector rose by 14.7% over the last 12 months. And as you correctly say, nearly 5,000 additional staff in the sector over that period. And if you think about it in terms of how much office space that requires, on average, every office-based worker consumes or occupies about 10 square metres of space. So it's a very significant requirement of additional office space.
Briefly, John, some of the very big demand for office space in the last year or so has been because of high-profile moves by the Central Bank down the docks, by the NGMA to a new building on the docks, by the Department of Health to those new Goodman buildings on Baggot Street. They won't be repeated. So is this support from the public sector for the office sector generally in Dublin going to diminish?
I don't believe so, Vincent. I think as the economy increases and grows, and as the administration of public life just becomes more complex, I think we're going to see further growth in public sector jobs. The other thing I would say is that the Office of Public Works has actually been quite proactive in managing its portfolio of business space in order to provide a better working environment for its staff and also to achieve environmental objectives, because these new buildings that the state agencies and government departments are moving into are much greener, much more efficient to run and so forth.
And probably much more comfortable than some of us experience as well. John McCartney of Savills, thanks indeed for joining us this morning.